Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. We're going to have a beautiful, enriching, and incredible conversation today on what it really takes to unlock 10x growth in your life. Because today morning, I was thinking we're going to be doing the 29th session today. It's going to be one whole month. The weekends are a gap, so that's how the number extends, but continuously one whole month of doing these live breakthrough sessions together right here on YouTube. And I wanted to ensure that these conversations are adding up to you one after the other and they're taking you closer to your goals. And to get closer to our goals, the most important thing we need is the ability to grow consistently. You can write this down as well if you want. To achieve our goals, the most important thing we need is the ability to grow consistently. And so I thought today, let's address that topic. Let's address what it really takes to grow in our lives and to not just grow, but to grow at a 10x speed and to make it happen much faster than anything else that we have been used to. And I know this may seem like a new idea to some of you because we like to believe, oh, success takes time, growth takes time, achieving all these big things, it's hard work after all. How can it happen so quickly and easily? But the answer is there's a science, there's an approach. And just because you're not aware of it does not mean it doesn't work. And all the high achievers, whether it's someone who succeeded at the age of 50 or whether it's someone who has succeeded at the age of 20, it doesn't matter. If they are a high achiever, this is something that they follow. This principle, this one shift can completely change the direction of your life, the growth that you achieve, and the success that you create. And I know we like to believe big things require big efforts. But what if I told you that's actually a false idea? In reality, if you wanted to succeed and if you wanted to grow, you actually don't have to do a lot. You just have to do a lot of the right tiny things. The reason it becomes effortful for us is if you're doing 100 things, 90 of them are wrong, only 10 of them are right. But if you know how to discern, if you know how to judge, if you know how to approach the activities of your everyday life, and you're only focusing on the 10 that matter and the 90 aren't even getting your energy, well, then guess what happens? Less effort, more growth. And the perfect way to describe the, the impact that this idea holds is this. So I just want you to imagine that this pen right here is an aircraft. It's an aeroplane. It's going in one direction over here. Okay. It's going right like this. But now, if I change the direction by just 1 degree, okay, 1 degree, that's not a big shift. That's a very tiny shift that I've made. But by just making a 1 degree shift and I go straight in that direction, in just this short of a distance, you can see the pen is going in a completely different way. But the initial shift here was only this. It's not even this or this or this or so many different directions that the pen could have gone to. It didn't. Instead, it just stayed in this one tiny shift. But over time, that shift created massive results and completely changed the direction. In fact, it is said that if, let's say, there's a plane that takes off from New York and you shift the direction by just 1 degree, a plane that was going to land in London would land either in Moscow or in Delhi. And if you make the shift just a tiny bit bigger, that plane could go all the way in the other direction to even Sydney. Now, that's across the world. But what's being added there? Understand this. The shift is not what is creating the impact. The time and the distance over which the shift occurs is what is creating the impact. And the moment we understand this, we have understood the science of growing in our lives. I mean, the biggest mistake we make is, and you'll figure out how absurd this is when I explain it to you. We've made one shift here, time has not passed, distance has not been covered, and we're expecting to reach a new destination over here only. We are impatient. We are desperate. We are running behind growth. We are running behind the side that somehow I'm falling behind in my life and I need to pick my socks up. I need to do something. I just need to get growth in my life. But well, guess what, my friend? Growth doesn't happen by being desperate. Growth happens by understanding what this one tiny shift is and making it consistently over time and distance. Distance in our world or in our way of working is not physical distance, but distance of the space we are covering, of the progress we are making. So that's a distance in any and every goal that we have. But that is what creates the shift ultimately, doesn't it? So it's not the one flick here, it's the consistent implementation and following through of that flick multiplied by time, multiplied by space, multiplied by distance, which gives us magical, and truly mind boggling results in our lives. So now that you've understood how growth really happens in our lives, it's like that 1 degree shift. Are you excited to know what is that one shift you can start implementing today that will get you, that will change your destination from a mediocre life to an achiever's life? That will change your destination from 1x growth to 10x growth. Would you like to know that shift? Well, if yes, you are in the right place, because now we are going to dive into a very powerful concept. And this comes courtesy of Seth Godin. He's one of my favorite authors. If you've not read his books, I suggest that you really do. He is like, so I'll give you an example here. It's a pretty crazy example, but like people have crushes on other people, right? That, okay, there's a really beautiful person. I like this person. Just like that. Seth Godin is one of the few people that I have an intellectual crush on. I love the way his mind works. I love the way he thinks. I love the way he processes his ideas, and just the way he does it is so refreshing and so incredible. So I was listening to a conversation between him and Mel Robbins, who's another great speaker, author. Like, I mean, everybody in this field inspires me. But there was this one particular idea that Seth introduced, and that idea has the potential to be this one shift that can take you from where you are to where you want to go in terms of 10x growth in any and every area of your life. And that shift is, be ready for it. This is really powerful. Pick yourself up. Don't ask for permission. Don't wait for approval. Just start. Now, I know you've heard it before. I know you've seen that Nike ad that says, just do it. I know you've heard so many speakers saying, all you need is a will and there is a way. All you need to do is be determined enough. And yes, that's true. But what Seth is saying here is much deeper. And I'm going to have a conversation with you about that one factor. And that phrase which he has given here is, pick yourself. It's a beautiful, not just beautiful but incredible way to define what action taking in our lives really is. How many times has it been that you've had a creative idea and the only reason you've not implemented it is because you've been afraid? What if I try to do this and people are like, ah, there we go again, this person's just trying so many things, he never figures out what to do with his life, and then they pass on that judgment towards you. Or you think, I could try making that new business idea that I've been thinking about, but what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? I really need to get more expertise, I need to get a co-founder, I need to do so many things, and your justifications become your resistances to your growth. But when you say, I'm ready to pick myself up, I'm ready to take action, and you believe in this principle, here's what happens. You don't allow the excuses to become a resistance. You ask yourself, okay, I have this limitation. What can I do despite this limitation to take action? How can I pick myself up to the level of action? The very important question. How can I pick myself up to the level of action that I need to take? Now, of course, if you're not honest with yourself, if you just love giving the excuses, you're going to say, ah, there's no way. It just doesn't happen. But you know that's not true. And I also know that's not true. There always is a way. The question is, are you willing to see it? So I'll give you a beautiful example of what does it mean to pick yourself. Imagine there are two people working in the same company. We're going to take the example of, let's say, two IT engineers. Okay. The first engineer is just working for the sake of it. He starts a project when the boss says, okay, start a project. When the deadline comes, he ends the project, he submits the project, he reviews the project, he's doing whatsoever is there in his job role. He's satisfied, the boss is satisfied, the work is going on. Now there's this second engineer, there's this second developer. He's doing everything the boss is asking, and he's also pretty curious to understand how does this world of development really work? What are the impacts it has? How can we use software for good? And so he starts exploring a bit on his own. Rather than waiting to get an approval from his boss, he just says, if I'm able to manage everything, let me try out a new side project. Let me try out some experiments. So he works on some of his ideas that he has. He tries them out. Some of them fail. He's okay with that. But some of them are working really well. And then he goes, he shows them to the boss. He says, see, I did it. I've created this new solution. I believe this would work really well. Take a look and let me know. And when the boss looks at it, the boss is impressed. The boss is like, well, I never thought of this. How did this even happen? How did you come up with the idea? And there's a lot of times in companies, people will blame, people will say, the management is not supporting us. The management stifles innovation. The management this and the boss that and all these excuses. But the question is, even if the management is like that, your work is not the end of your life, right? You can explore, you can pick yourself up, you can do anything and everything you want in other areas of your life. So even that idea that other people are limiting me is a false idea, and that's the reason I did not take an entrepreneur's example here, and I did not take an artist's example here. I specifically took the example of somebody who has a very real barrier of having someone to explicitly seek approval from. But even there, it is possible for you to fulfill your duties and experiment with whatever curiosities you have, given that you're able to take accountability for it and you're willing to pick yourself up from the failures. So this guy did that. Now the boss loved the project. The boss was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're going to implement it. He gets recognition. He gets valued for the value and the impact that he created. And then comes the appraisal round. Now, at this point in time, who do you think is going to get the appraisal better? Employee one who just filled the role but did nothing new. And for example, let's say office end time is 6 o'clock. That guy leaves at 5:55 because the work is done. Maybe even if the work is not done, he'll leave early. But this guy does not sacrifice his personal life for the office. But if he needs to, he gives the time, he gives the attention, he gives the focus. He's sincere and committed about the work. Between these two people, if the organization has a fair and accurate appraisal system, who do you think is really going to get the promotion, the bonus, the hike in the salary? Of course, it's the second person. Now, both of them, 10 years in their career. One is moving like this, the other is moving like this. Why? Because that person made the tiny shift, the 1 degree shift of picking himself up rather than always playing it safe and waiting for the permission to explore and to fail. You see, growth cannot come without failure. If growth is on one hand, failure is on the other. It is through the path, through the fires of failures that you achieve growth that lasts. But in order to avoid those failures, we tend to stifle the growth by saying, oh, I need permission. Oh, I need to play it safe. Oh, there's so many barriers and challenges that I am encountering every single day. But the truth is, no, you are not. They are real, yes. But are they the reason you cannot take action? Not really. So think about this concept. If I had to apply the idea of picking myself up in whatever it is that I'm doing, what are the things I could do? What are the action steps that I could take? Where do I have to stop waiting for permission? Where do I have to stop playing it safe? And how can I, in tiny but powerful ways, make this 1 degree shift so that over the next decade of my life, no matter what I'm doing, growth becomes my partner because I am willing to take action even when no one else is. I'm willing to take risks even when no one else is. I'm willing to put my foot forward and be accountable for failures even when no one else is. And the moment you do it, oh my God, everything starts to change, everything starts to improve, and you unlock crazy, crazy, crazy insights and growth in your life. I mean, think about it. Starting these daily life sessions, this was also a picking myself up moment for me. I had no idea how many people would tune in. I had no idea if this would even work. I didn't even have any idea that I could be consistent for so many days, showing up every day live on video. But I have. I've done it. But if I'd waited, no, wait, let me have the perfect setup first. Let me see how YouTube lives are done. Let me take some experience first. Let me understand from the experts first. Then I'm going to get started. Well, guess what would have happened? The last 29 days of magic would just not have been created because I was willing to pick myself up and embrace the idea that this could possibly fail. I have unlocked new levels of growth in my life, and now I'm excited to show up at 8:30 p.m. every single day. My speaking skills are improving because I'm getting to practice, and my comfort level with the camera is now the next level because now for me a camera is not just a random object. For me the camera has an audience. In the lens I imagine and I see faces, and it works so well. But only why? Because I was willing to make this shift where I did not seek permission, or I did not seek a perfection before I got started. I was willing to embrace the failure, and that's what got me the growth. So, tiny shifts. And the biggest tiny shift you can make is to start picking yourself up in any and everything that you do. I've given you two examples now. It's your time to think about it, to reflect on it, and to see how this idea fits into your life and aligns to your goals. If you think it doesn't, there's some resistance there, because I can be 100% sure, doesn't matter what your goal is in life, this is a powerful and practical idea. So stay with it, stay curious, explore this question, and I'll see you once again tomorrow for the 30th session. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited for it. Thank you so much for being here with me for the last 29 days. Some of you would have joined today, that's perfectly fine too. I hope this idea helps you, and I'll see you tomorrow exactly the same time. That's 8:30 p.m. Bye.